Metal Summoners, what's up? We appreciate you guys. We appreciate your guys' patience. We've been playing around with a little bit of scheduling situation when it comes to Isaac. Everything is super duper fine. He's going to be rocking out with us shortly. So we wanted to make sure that everything was going well and locked and loaded. So we have some great conversation tonight for you guys, like we always do. But we got my guy Angel here, and we've got myself. Again, welcome to your island of Misfit Toys. The Metal Summit is live, and we are super duper stoked. We are going to be rocking out tonight with Thrower very, very shortly. But Angel, what do you say we talk a little bit about current news when it comes to music, with Isaac getting himself situated? And the big thing right now happens to be that Regina Rand, the widow of the late Randy Rand from Autograph, has done her first real official interview since Randy's passing and since this whole lawsuit thing was going on with Autograph about who rolls with the name Autograph versus how the band continues on and so on and so forth. And also why it appeared that while she was backing everything, she then switched her loyalties. But before we get into all of that, a congratulation does need to go out to Metal Summit alumni Steve Lynch on Autograph's upcoming induction into the Metal Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So how do you look at this situation with, Regina kind of speaking on it finally?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that she did. I saw Regina at the Kickin' Valentina record release party, so it's just good just to see her out and rocking. I definitely understand why it all went down the way it did and why it happened. You kind of hate it when they're suing each other.
Yeah.
Having legal stuff involved, but that's what he had to do, and I get it. That the intent was to use, the original, but that he passed away unfortunately. And
yeah.
We got to see them at M3. We got to see Steve Lynch at M3, and that was just freaking awesome to hear. Turn up the radio at 12:30 midnight at the release party, and
yeah,
that was just awesome. Then the next day,
absolutely,
kick butt on stage. I had something with Steve, so I had to keep the whole thing secret about him leaving Autograph. Did that. But man,
no.
And we're working on getting Steve Lynch on the show live from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes,
if he agrees to it, I will drive 8 hours to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just to do.
Absolutely, brother, 100%. Just to give you a heads up, Angel, you are getting a little bit of choppy, dude. You are still coming in clear, but you are getting a little bit choppy, buddy. So I just wanted to let you know about that. When it comes to, my thing about it is like I'm all for this potential new Autograph with Steve in the band again. I'll admit, because this is also something that I've spoken on already, is that I feel like there's something that still has not gone public yet as far as backstage information. And maybe it's information that just seriously should stay backstage. Maybe it's really not for the public. The thing that was so strange to me personally was when Steve kind of came back into the fold about this situation, and I'm sure he'd be willing to clarify about it as well, is that everything had been signed off on, Everything had been like okayed when he broke off to do his solo stuff. Hey, what's up, Isaac? How are you doing, brother?
What's up?
Good, man. Good to have you on.
Doing?
Great, man. We're doing great. We're just finishing up a little thought real quick on this recent Autograph situation, and we're gonna bring you right in, my guy. Was the fact that he seemed to have signed off on Autograph continuing so he could do his solo stuff and all that kind of situation. And then with Randy's untimely passing, we, again, everything seemed totally fine with Steve filling in and keeping the memory of Randy alive. We had Steve on the show and he talked about it and everything's been great. But then all of a sudden there seemed to be like this switch that was flipped a little bit where all of a sudden Steve and Regina and other members weren't okay with it. And Regina did speak out on the fact that a lot of this had to do with the fact that she just wanted to be close up to a show that was supposed to be a tribute to Randy that didn't turn out to really be one, didn't really acknowledge him like it should have. And that she ultimately, overall, just kind of felt disrespected by the situation and didn't really feel that the guys had her back or Randy's legacy, in mind. So that was the one thing I kind of found kind of interesting with Steve kind of coming back. And maybe it was that idea of, well, if they're not going to keep part of my legacy and now my lost brother's legacy as a focal point, not the whole point, simply a focal point, maybe that was something that triggered Steve to want to get back involved and be like, well, look, this was my band. These were songs that I wrote, stuff that I do still have royalties to. That might have been one of the reasons where at the time Steve had greenlit them to continue without him. Might have been one of the reasons why suddenly he felt it was his duty to get back involved. So it's definitely going to be an interesting thing, Angel, with the near and probably the next year, seeing how this situation plays off with now Autograph Beyond versus what Steve might give us with Autograph.
True.
So,
but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm excited about? We got Isaac.
Yes.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely our pleasure. One more time, Angel. Go ahead, bud.
Album. I'm going to go to my car and interview from there. So
no problem, man. Absolutely. We'll get you right back on, man. Get you a little bit crisper and stuff like that. But yes, Isaac, we have an album. Thrower has a record, and we get to talk about it, man. We are very, very excited. I know you are, man. I mean, it's your guys' multiple children in disc or digital form to get unleashed on the world. But please, man, it's got to feel great having this album out to the public. How are you feeling about it, and how's the reception been?
I'm feeling pretty good about it. It was our first album, so you never know, but we've been getting a lot of positive feedback, from people just that really like the album and really dig it, and it's absolutely, we just recently finished up a tour with Saliva and Drowning Pool, and it was a lot of fun to play those songs live. Absolutely. Among the few, Eye for an Eye off the album, definitely probably a really fun song to play for sure.
Nice.
But I feel really good, I'm excited for what's to come as well. Absolutely.
Absolutely, for sure, man. And while Angel's getting back on here with us, this allows me to steal a moment of this for myself because I want to ask you specifically about your guys' cover of Don't Fear the Reaper. I love that song and always have. I mean, I love, of course, the classic from Blue Oyster Cult, The Whole World Does. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the goth love metal band Him out of Finland. And if you're not familiar with that, they did a cover of that song as well that I always found to be fantastic. Your guys' version is killer. I was listening to it and I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I just would love you to tell just a little bit of backstory on it. What was your guys' decision to do it? Does the song have any personal meaning to you?
Oh yeah, it definitely has some meaning to me. But the idea first arrived when we were of course making the record. Bobby Amaru from Saliva, he's producing it, and he was kind of like, hey man, so I'm thinking you should do a cover of some sort. I think that would be really cool. And he threw the idea out there, and I was like, yeah, a cover. And so we started bouncing ideas back and forth, There was Living on the Edge thrown in there. There was Twilight Zone. There was Never Tear Us Apart thrown in there. There's a lot of different songs. And eventually we came across Don't Fear the Reaper. And we were both just like, you know what, that would be really cool to do. And I definitely was like that. I also just love that song and always have. And I really wanted to do my own take on it.
Sure.
So it was definitely a lot of fun to do. and you know, it does have that darker feel. You know, the tempo's slower, but I feel like that allows you to kind of take in the song more in a way. And in terms of meaning, you can really listen to the lyrics and the meaning, especially with it slowed down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely, man, for sure. When and this is just to be playful and fun because this is a playful, fun show. Have you seen the Saturday Night Live skit that they did with
Oh yeah.
Christopher Walken? I mean, I kind
Oh
of
yeah.
I kind of knew, of course, there's got to be a dude. Of course, I'm sure all of your fans watching, all the Metal Summoners that are watching right now, are all probably laughing about that because they all know that as well. Because
Oh yeah.
it's so classic, it's so fun, and I don't know if you've seen Blue Oyster Cult recently, but they've really taken that and run with it because they have a guy that sits on the side of the stage and that is his job. He just rocks
Oh
on a
my
stool
gosh.
with
That's
the
so funny.
drumstick and the cowbell. And he just kind of goes with it. But yeah, man, I mean, it's Christopher Walken, it's Chris Kattan, it's Will Ferrell. I mean, dude, we all got a fever and the only remedy is more cowbell.
Yeah, that's so funny. No, I'll have to check out some live footage of that. That sounds pretty pretty great.
Yeah,
No,
man.
I had the idea of of doing like a almost like a parody of this parody in a way, parody skit, you know, where instead of we need more cowbell, it's like we need less.
Less.
we need, until it's just gone.
It's just like
And
you hear the tapping just fading.
yeah, or like having the guy in the studio is like, yeah, we hear you loud and clear, and then he just turns it down.
Or you just have somebody who just like randomly walks through, like acts like they just punch him across the face, and then it's like no cowbell.
That is definitely the number one comment I get, though. It is always, "Where's the cowbell? You need more cowbell."
Of course.
It's funny though. It's always something to talk about. It's
Absolutely. And it's always going to be one of those things too, where like, especially of course, because of that skit, because of the follow-up popularity and the extra, and the return boost that a skit like that is going to have on such a popular show, you kind of can't know that. You kind of know you're going to do a cover of that. You decide to do a cover of Don't Fear the Reaper. You kind of know what's coming from your friends, your fan base, all that kind of stuff. People are going to have some fun with it. But again, Isaac,
yeah.
It's a killer version, man. It's so crisp. It's so clean. And again, I love it. And I'm super duper stoked.
Thank you.
That you love it, man. But Angel, let's kick it over to you, my friend, and let you take it away.
Yes, you can hear me better.
Much.
Well, I don't do shows from my room. The Wi-Fi sucks in my room. Why? But who cares? You did a cover of Never Tear Us Apart, and that just sounded fucking killer. So just curious to ask about how you guys came and decided to actually cover that song.
Yeah. Believe it or not, with how the record sounds, NXS, I actually really love that band. And, they're on the lighter side, but I really love some of Michael Hutchins' lyrics and just some of the stuff that they put out. And Never Tear Us Apart, I've listened to for the longest time. Kind of similar, to Don't Fear the Reaper, and since I've known this song a long time, except with Never Tear Us Apart and singing it, I just felt like I could also really I guess similarly make it my own and really really make that chorus kind of heavier, or like really not headbanging but just really, moving. There's the word, moving.
Yeah, that part right before it goes dun 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 dun, and you have the drum like the guitars right there. That was really freaking heavy. I really like that.
Yeah.
You guys add.
Thank you.
So, just curious to ask. It's your first album, and some people always say you always have your whole life to work on your first record. So why add a couple of cover songs to your first album. Just curious to ask.
Oh yeah. I think I missed the second half of what you were saying there,
Uh,
but
right, just curious to ask. Why do a couple of cover songs when they say you have your whole life to make your first album?
yeah. And there's probably, I mean, tens of songs that I had prepared that didn't make it on the album, or that we didn't end up recording, or just the band in general. And we ended up doing this through covers, I feel, because it was just kind of it was honestly kind of in the moment. I didn't really think about it. If I could go back and kind of think about it more, maybe we would have just done one, and slid another original in there after uh, some of the stuff I came up with, like right after we got done with recording the album. I was like, man, I really wish I could have had this on the album. I feel like a lot of musicians will get that, where they just put out release an album or something and come up with something like, oh, that was perfect. Like, this is exactly what I was trying to do, you know. But it's all good, save it for the next album for sure. But yeah,
And I
it's
mean,
kind of in the moment. I don't know.
for what it's worth, Isaac, too, like even if you feel like, even if you get kind of a second wind where, you don't want to wait for the next album, again, with the advances, and again, Angel and I have said this a million times on shows, we're hard copy guys. We love albums in full. We love the story they tell. We love looking at pictures, liner notes, all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that's kind of cool is, with of course now the digital age and stuff like that, there are those little things where you can even play around with the ideas of like iTunes exclusive, or like a deluxe version of
Oh
your
yeah.
of your debut album, that where it's like, you know what, I'm getting a feeling something from this song that we did right after we signed off on the track list, and I don't want to wait a year or 2 years, whatever works best for your band, for the new record. That's always something you could consider, whether it's, even
Oh
if
yeah.
it's simply like a, an iTunes, Spotify single, is always something too. But at least that's the one thing that is kind of an advantage, because we have been fortunate to also talk with a lot of people that do a lot of records that get released in like Japan. And if you're not
Yeah.
familiar with, it's kind of a Japanese standard to have albums released with like bonus tracks. Like, they're very passionate about bonus tracks with like the Asian releases, and it's been really cool to talk to some of these artists and kind of get educated on that from them. It's been very, very cool conversation. But anyway, that's one thing that kind of benefits those type of releases, is they want that bonus track, so you can automatically be like, well, I got one, so here you go. But at least
Yeah.
there is that ability nowadays to be able to do singles online, maybe a mini EP, just kind of however,
Yeah.
like, the chips fall, as you take this band, in the direction that you want to take it.
Yeah, there was some chatter definitely about doing a little EP or something this summer, but nothing set in stone yet. But there was definitely a little chatter about that among the band.
For sure. Right back up to you, Angel. I just wanted to speak on that for a moment.
Oh, can you take us through the process of what it was like the first night of the tour, touring with the live? What was the emotions like? That first night, getting there, venue, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so first night was Nashville for us. That was our first night with them. And actually, Alien Ant Farm hopped on the bill too. And so it was so cool to see uh, all these great bands, and we were opening for them, for all of them. And it was kind of packed early because actually, I guess someone told or sent it out that 5:30 was doors, but when it was actually 6. So we got a good amount of people to, like, just there was a lot of people there, and the energy was just crazy good, and it was a really good first show of the tour. And there was definitely a little bit of nervousness and wanting to uh, wanting to make sure to do our very very best and give it all. And I think we did. I think we did really good, and I feel really good about it.
So what was it like with the set list? When did you guys come up with what songs you were gonna play on that first show?
Oh yeah. So one thing that actually in the album is a lot of the songs that I wrote. They are in very strange and like odd tunings, and I kind of took that note from a few of my favorite bands, like Soundgarden. Um, and so a lot of the stuff on the album is in some weird tunings. So when we were making the set list, we had to really build around those tunings. And it was kind of a process to figure out, okay, let's see what works together. And that way we don't have to really mess with the guitars that much and that sort of thing. But we wanted to start with high energy, of course, and it actually works out because the first song in the album is Reach, and that is almost always what we started with. Actually, it is what we started with on every show of the tour, just because it has so much energy and it's the first song in the album. It just made sense. Uh, and then, of course, had to put "Don't Fear the Reaper" in there, and we actually detuned that down to standard, or sorry, D standard, and so kind of had a nice midpoint in the set with "Don't Fear the Reaper," or like kind of latter half, and then we would end it with "Dusted" and "All I Know." And yeah, solid. A lot of fun to play.
We're all music fans, and we're always thinking about what's going through a band's mind that first night of the tour, the excitement, the nervousness. How do you guys prepare for that show? Do you guys do anything to prepare?
What was that?
What did you guys do to like prepare for the show? Do you guys do anything to prepare for a show?
Yeah.
Or
Some pre-show rituals. Yeah. I normally like try to kind of rest and kind of chill before a show, and I'm just kind of like taking some breaths and like, all right, let's have a good show. Some of the guys though, they kind of like jumping around, doing some jumping jacks. They're like, all right, let's do this, kind of hopping around and stuff. And we normally just kind of take a little talk right before we hop on stage, and it's like, all right, no matter what happened before tonight or before right now, doesn't matter. What matters, we're going on the stage and we're just gonna have a good show and rock out.
so, what happened after the show was done? What what did you guys do after the show?
So after the show is done, what did we have to what?
No, just asking what did you guys do after the show?
Rituals? Did you say rituals like after the show? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, so kind of hop off stage, and actually, for most of that tour, we did not have a merch person. So normally, the band mainly would just kind of go down there and just hang out with everybody, and that was normally what we did. Just hang out, talk to the fans, talk to everybody, and we actually made some really good friends that way, especially some of the other workers and like merch people, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's normally what we did after the show.
Awesome. This can going on tour with Saliva.
Going on, huh?
Just kind of it went out on tour with a band like Saliva that has been around for like 20 plus years.
He was saying
Yeah.
like it's got to be cool, like, you know, like being out on tour with a band like Saliva that's been around for 20 years, and, you know, bands like bands like DP and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no, it was honestly surreal. Like being with those bands. I mean, you know, those guys are pretty much our heroes. I mean, it's crazy to even think we got to share like I think it was like 15, 16 shows with them, and so it was just great. And they were super nice. They were fun to hang out with for sure. Saliva, some of the guitarists for Saliva, or just the band, left us a little present at the end of the last show with them. They put some open cans of soup on the stage, and of course, we knocked it over. And Cole, our lead, spilled it on his amp, his PV, and it's like, oh boy, we gotta get him back now. I don't know when,
Yeah.
but
Oh, that's awesome, man. Talk a little bit. So I've known Bobby myself actually for a little while now, and I love what he does in Saliva. And Angel and I have been very, you know, fortunate to get to talk to Josie as well in our
Yeah.
time. But talk, you know, I think Bobby's an absolute doll. I think the videos that he does with his daughter are absolutely fantastic. But
Yeah.
how did you guys get involved with him?
yeah, you know, it's an interesting story. There's this guy who is in Houston, which is, you know, kind of where we're mainly based out of, although also kind of Louisiana. But this guy named Mark who got our demos, and he knew Bobby through, I think, some sort of biker rally or something. And some way or another, he got our demos to the Bobby Amaru, and Bobby was like, you know what, I don't know if he saw. Okay, I don't know if he saw something. I guess he did, but he hit us back up, and you know, wanted to do an album, and just kind of like, huh, like that. Just that opportunity alone has really just like made us, you know. And so I'm eternally grateful to Bobby for everything he's done for us. And he's a great guy. He really is, and he was awesome to work with on the album. Just such a nice person, such a cool dude. But yeah,
Nice, man. No, very cool. He's a very cool guy, very down to earth, like you said, and everything is like super duper cool. So I've always been a big like supporter of him and everything that he does. I've actually been wanting to reach out to him for a minute now to invite him on the show because I think it would be a lot of fun. But just out of curiosity, like taking this tour out of consideration and taking, you know, your now loyalties, of course, out of the situation as well. Were you a Saliva fan at any point previously?
before. Yeah, I actually was. You know, I grew up watching like Fast and Furious, you
Mhm.
know, and like stuff like that. And you know, my family, my brother's actually a big Saliva fan in general,
Nice.
and I actually, you know, I didn't really like completely, you know, like I knew that Josie had left, and like there was some stuff, and I'd listened to some of it. I was like, this is really good, you know. Uh, but once I really, once Bobby kind of reached out and stuff, I was able to really kind of look at all the work that he's done and be like, wow, you know, this guy's major talent, you know, and yeah,
No, absolutely, for sure, and totally understandable when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, and the fact that Bobby's also stayed so grounded, stayed so humble, but also given back so much to the music community is when it comes to
oh yeah,
producing and all that kind of stuff. You know, because of course those are huge shoes to fill. I mean, you know, those would just be anthems at any rock show in general that any band would simply love to have in their catalog. But the level of just life that a lot of those songs took off because of their versatility when it comes to movies, let alone Josie, of course, doing the song with Chad for Spider-Man and stuff like that. Obviously got Saliva continued notoriety and stuff like that. So despite the fact that Bobby himself is a massively talented guy, those are crazy shoes to fill. So it's been very cool that he's been able to, handle the gig, perform great, but also stay very grounded and give back so much as well, instead of just being like, well, I've got this killer gig and I get to sing these amazing songs and I'm just down for that now, and now it's about me doing this. It's like, no, it's like, yeah, I get to stand at the front of the stage and be acknowledged and show up my range, but I got people to look out for too, and I want them to put their best foot forward. It's just very cool that he's just down for that.
Yeah. As we've been saying, he's really pretty cool dude.
Absolutely, for sure. So you've got the upcoming tour that's coming on with Tommy Vex.
Yes. Yeah, we're excited for that. It's right in our backyard in Texas, so we're definitely excited for that for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, you got Corpus Christi, Austin, Dallas, Metal Summoners, Thrower fans right down below. We've got those dates going across for all the Texas shows and stuff like that. So definitely make sure that you guys get out and support there. But how does it's got to be a little bit of an interesting kind of like mental lock, as well as an interesting mental state, going from like Saliva and Drowning Pool to Tommy Vex, while he was only in Bad Wolves for so long. And again, fans, you guys can look that up and look up that situation on your own time. That's not really for us. We're simply talking about Tommy Vex, specifically the talent, when it comes to this. But that's got to be so cool for you guys to be able to go out, play these shows, and so far not only have this album with these great songs to unleash that's already been unleashed, but that you're also getting to play with just amazing established talent and bands.
Yeah. We're just really grateful to be able to do that, and like I said, we're really excited, and it's crazy to think about, just a couple years ago, playing local shows.
Yeah.
Doing the local BS, and
Sure.
Next thing you know.
Absolutely, man. And being that your album's so fresh, Angel and I have this thing that we do regularly where we bounce each other's questions off of each other. And one of the questions that Angel asked that I personally love, that I'm going to steal from him on this one, is how do you know when a song is done? Now that you guys have this fresh album out, of course, you guys eventually had to say, we're good, it's written, and it's recorded, we're done with that one. How do you decide when it's time for that?
Well, a song, I feel like it's never a written formula. Some songs will take years to fully reach a point when it's like completed and you're like, okay, I think this is what the song is supposed to be. And then some pretty quick and on the fly, and it's like, wow, that was quick, but yeah, some of those songs, like for example Reach, has a pretty deep meaning with me and the lead guitarist Cole. And I've said this before on other shows, but Cole had a really good friend who unfortunately passed away from heroin, and we were really inspired by his story to write a song that was kind of dedicated to him, and that is kind of how Reach was made. He came up with that riff prior to actually that happening, but as we recorded it, we in terms of lyrics for me, and singing and playing, it's kind of for him. So some songs have really deep personal meanings like that, and they just form. And some of them are a little bit more not less personal. Each song is personal, but
Yeah.
more general, and that maybe a listener could really relate to in terms
Absolutely,
of
man.
lyrics.
Definitely. No, 100%. And before I kick it over to Angel, I just got one more show that I'd love for you to talk about because I'm a Damon I'm a Damon fan. Talk about you guys playing the Brother Kane show.
Oh, that was awesome. That was an awesome show. It was great to play with Brother Kane. And they sounded great, you know. I made sure I had to listen to them. They sounded great. I didn't get to meet them, unfortunately, but I definitely sat and listened to them and really dug it for sure.
Nice. That's really cool. Like I got to interview Damon years ago, and I was very honored to do so. Just his back catalog is ridiculous, from like Alice Cooper and all these other bands that he's played with. But
Oh
and
yeah.
it was very green in the business at the time, so it was really cool to get that opportunity when I was still pretty new. But I'm a big Thin Lizzy fan, and being that he had done a series of records, the inaugural series of records with Black Star Riders, you know, which obviously for any fans who are unfamiliar is the band that, you know, Thin Lizzy became when they decided to release new music, but were, you know, unwilling to put them out as Thin Lizzy music without, you know, without our beloved main guy rocking out with them and stuff like that. But I just think Damon is so cool, and I love when I saw that you guys had played with him back in May. I was like, I definitely have to ask about that because I think that it's just so cool that they got to play with Damon because of his not only just everything that he does with Brother Kane, but also just his back catalog as well, and just for myself as well, being that he was, you know, one of my first like big interviews and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
again, being a Thin Lizzy guy and supporting Black Star Riders with, you know, Phil Lynott not being with us and stuff like that. I just, you know, I turned a little green seeing that you guys got to play with Brother Kane. So I definitely had to ask about that. But Angel, let's pop it back up to you, my friend. Metal Summoners, don't forget, pop in your questions, anything that you want to ask Isaac while we got him about shows, music, the future, 2024, all that stuff. Don't be shy. You know, we always
sure.
make sure that you guys get heard. So don't be afraid to ask Isaac anything that you guys want to ask him. Right up to you, my guy.
What musician or album made you want to pick up a guitar?
What musician wanted or made me want to pick up a guitar? In particular, okay, so a guitar. Gotta think way back. Just look at my album wall. You know, yeah, the likes of probably Hendrix, and Jimmy Page, you know, and Stevie Ray Vaughan. Three, like whenever I was really starting out as a musician, those were some artists that I really listened to. Well, I mean, Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, but yeah, I still have this book of just like this thick of tabs, of like guitar tabs, and it was all Led Zeppelin, and I just like learned. Okay, I didn't learn all of it, but I learned a ton of it. And then same thing with Jimi Hendrix, same thing with Stevie Ray Vaughan. I had these little tab books that I had gotten, and I learned everything, and so they inspired me to pick up a guitar. But in terms of vocals, I definitely will have to say, you know, Chris Cornell. He just has a voice like no other, I feel, and he really inspired me to pick up singing along with uh, Lane Staley as well, for sure.
Oh, awesome. Those are two awesome singers. I mean, especially Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the freaking James Bond soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah. Just his like, He went from Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog, Audio Slave, outstanding solo career. Like he did it all, and
Yeah.
yeah, talented musician for sure.
Yeah.
And then Lane Staley, of course, Alice in Chains, Mad Season, another really talented singer and lyricist.
Most definitely. So when it comes to the writing songs, do you ever come up with a song title first and then the rest of it, or?
I did that, I think maybe one time, but all of the songs on the album, I actually came up with the title afterwards. So I would have a set of lyrics, and I would kind of find the centralized theme or, what I wanted it to be, and that's kind of how I would get the title, which is why some of the songs titles aren't in the lyrics themselves. Uh, Blink Dog, Overgrown, some of them. But yeah.
You kind of feel as a songwriter, I have to include the song title in the lyrics?
I don't think it's 100% needed. If a song speaks and the song is good, I think the title doesn't really matter, but in terms of, I guess, getting an audience to remember the song, sometimes it could be helpful to have the chorus and the title, but in terms of like, is it needed? I guess it really just depends on the song. It really depends, because you got like Stairway to Heaven and some songs that just like only say the title maybe like once or twice, or even not at all. But yeah, so it just depends on the song, I feel.
As far as beyond July with touring, do you guys have any plans on touring for the rest of 2024?
Yeah, so we've got July, and we've got some shows around Texas, and booking in Louisiana too, of course. But in terms of tours, we're trying to hop on a particular tour. I don't want to say right now. I don't want to jinx it, but
Oh no!
Damn it! That's
The
when
jinx, the jinx has happened.
yes.
You've said too much.
Man,
to join and rejoin real quick. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but my
Oh,
audio cut out. So I will be
Oh, no worries,
I
man.
will be right back. Something happened here.
No,
Somebody-
that's okay. No worries. It's all good. Hang tight, fans. We're gonna rock out with Isaac for a little bit longer. No worries. We always want to make sure that we respect his time. We got a few more topics that we're gonna cover and stuff like that. But again, thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do when it comes to supporting this show. We're gonna take a mini little intermission right here and throw out some shout outs. Again, while you guys are very, very gracious and loving to the Metal Summit with everything that myself, Angel, and Steve do, we also do want to thank, and throw out a little bit of love to our friends in Lisa with Front Row Promotions, as well as our friend Shad with the Mad Shad channel on YouTube. If you guys want to, go out and make sure you're checking out those pages. Check out the YouTube page. Give the Mad Shad channel a like, a follow, and make sure that you're checking out Lisa as well on Front Row Promotions, and some love for that as well. Just continue building up such a strong community of interviews to keep these bands rocking and rolling and stuff like that. So make sure that you're showing a lot of love to these guys. They give a lot of effort in allowing themselves to do great interviews, just like myself and Angel get to talk with our guys like Isaac, who's right back on with us, man. Isaac, man, I feel like it was the jinx you were talking about that jumped in and got you.
Yeah, he just like swooped in and called me. No. Yeah. but yeah, we were talking about. I don't want to jinx it, but we might be going back out on tour, with potentially a pretty big name, and we're excited, but it's not for sure yet. So we shall see.
Absolutely, for sure. When you look at the rest of 2024, how are you looking at everything that how would you like it to shape up, like Isaac? Obviously you've got this album out, so you definitely want to like push, drive. But do you fancy this band as like, a road dog band? Like, hey, we like being out on the road, we like playing live, we want to jump on whatever tours that we can get to do our thing? Or do you kind of like to play a bit of the home versus away kind of thing?
After that last tour, you know, all of us, whenever we were kind of towards the end of the tour, we were kind of like, okay, we're kind of like, let's get back home. Maybe a day after we got back home, it's like, all right, well, we should go back out on the road. Let's get back out on the road. So we definitely like being out on the road, that's for sure. So and doing our thing. So between the two, we definitely like being out on the road.
Absolutely, man, for sure. When you were talking about like, guitar influences and stuff like that, I feel like based on the way you were growing up or the way that the music that you gravitated to, there's a bit of an old soul in you there, man.
Yeah.
You were into with some stuff that I'll admit that while I knew that you were into like Chris Cornell and stuff like that, that was actually stuff I was a little bit more prepared to hear, and
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I got the old soul out of you when it came to those early influences.
Yeah, no, maybe I've just been hearing a little more of that recently and it's drawn it out, but yeah, I definitely have some of that influence, and I do want to mention, like Sabbath, of course, was
Sure.
huge influence. Uh, Ozzy too, just great musician, but yeah, I definitely kind of have some older taste, but there's some new bands that I also love as well.
Mhm.
I don't want to focus too much, but yeah, yeah.
No, absolutely, man, for sure. Before I kick it back up to Angel, like when you are looking at like how you've got Thrower put together with the songs and the style and the stage show versus that, and you think about just other peers that may be doing the same. What is it about the performance that you like to put forward and want to put forward, to keep you guys kind of in that frontal lobe of fans, like, that could be either that have either been with you or are going to be seeing you moving forward, and keeping you guys as a band that they want to keep seeing?
In terms of like live shows, right?
Yes, you got it.
So I really do like to have a bit of a mix, I guess. And while you're on stage, I feel like you're not really thinking about it. But from what like I've been told is, I kind of have like a little bit of like this mysticism thing going, but I also interact with the crowd a lot, and I like to say what's up and be like, "How we doing?" Just classic stuff, and really to kind of set in uh, in the minds of the audience. I do like to talk a little bit and maybe relate a little story about wherever we are at this show or wherever the show may be, and I was out walking along the streets here in Billings, and I just thought to myself, man, it's a lot nicer than Houston. It's a little like, stuff like that. Just you know, but yeah.
Nice, man. Right on, for sure. Angel, let's kick it back up to you, my friend. It looks like we got some stuff that popped up for from the Summoners.
First
Who
concert.
got a question?
Well, who was the
Who was
first?
who was the first band I saw in concert? I think it was either Guns N' Roses
Nice.
or the Cult. I think it was one of those two. It might have been the Cult, but I'm pretty sure it was Guns N' Roses because they were kind of around the same time.
What year?
But I was young. It may have been like it's somewhere in the 2010s. I can tell you that.
Alright.
But yeah, no, it was a fantastic show. I remember Axel doing great, and the Cult they did great too. They're touring or kind of playing one of their albums like in full, and it was awesome to see. But yeah, thanks for that question.
And hold on, what's another question? What do you like the most about being a musician?
Oh, I don't know. I guess it's really just, it's kind of about expression, and I think that's one of the biggest things is doing what you love and being able to express yourself and how you want to. I think that's probably one of the best parts of being a musician, I would say. I swear. It's my audio cut out again. Yeah, my audio cut out again, guys.
That's all right.
I jinxed it. I'll be right back.
No problem.
One thing we would never
Right. It's the evil within. Release the evil. It can be our little Nicky moment and stuff like that. But not a worries at all. So, Metal Summoners, if you guys aren't already aware and hadn't seen our announcements, we will be right back at you guys tomorrow. We're going to give you guys a reminder that at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, we've got Blitz joining us from the UK. So Angel and I are going to have a nice, fun conversation with some United Kingdom hard rock action with the Blitz trio, my guy.
Yeah. What advice would you give someone now in this business? Watch the Metal Summit.
Yes.
What you need to do to make it.
Let the Metal Summit host your events
Every day, every hour. At home.
All,
yeah.
All TMS all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And stay away from Eddie Trump. I'm just playing.
I mean, hey, look, we can appreciate the path that he laid, but it's our time now.
He's from Jersey. I think exit 16.
Oh yeah.
If you ever ride around the turnpike, that's pretty far up.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So yeah, Metal Summoners, we've always got so much cool stuff going on. Keep in mind that getting out to shows and all the little stuff that you guys can do as well. So again, we've been having a killer time talking to Isaac. They got their new record out. And remember, supporting the bands, getting t-shirts, getting albums, things like that are always so incredibly valuable when it comes to the bands being able to continue to perform for you guys. Getting out there, supporting the bands. We've got live music. Everybody's back out on the road. And they're performing for you. So anything that you guys can do to share it back to those guys. And again, like Angel and I talk about regularly, we understand that with certain situations, maybe a show ticket, maybe a T-shirt isn't exactly something that's available at that particular moment. But any of you guys that are watching on YouTube, or all of you Facebook guys that are watching us as well, or people that have Facebook, remember, likes, shares, follows, little things like that, completely free. So it benefits Isaac, it benefits his mates, it benefits the band as a whole, that, sharing that they've got a show, following the page, little things like that, all those quote unquote algorithms that everybody likes to talk about. Just little things like that are always incredibly beneficial. But let's bring Isaac right back in as well, of course. And Isaac, for anybody who's unfamiliar with the band or hasn't seen you guys live, can you let everybody know about some of your band members and who else is playing with you?
Absolutely. So on lead guitar, there's Cole Stratulet. Cole's probably the party animal of the band, but he's really influenced. He kind of has more of our metal influence. He loves Dimebag Darrell. He loves Pantera. Loves Zach Wild. That's kind of his two biggest influences. I'm pretty sure. At least that's what he's told me before. And so that definitely comes out while he's playing. I mean, he's just a phenomenal guitarist, and so is August Galliano. He's he also plays lead sometimes, but lead rhythm guitarist, and does some backgrounds. Such a talented guy. It's really fun to hang out with. And we got Clay on the bass. And one thing I can say about Clay is he loves to do the "Don't Fear the Reaper" harmonies, because he's the one who does those harmonies. So I think one of the shows during the tour, we were kind of like, let's take "Don't Fear the Reaper" off for this one maybe, and he's like, I want to do "Don't Fear the Reaper." I need those harmonies. And then lastly, we got Jake Douglas. He's actually just he's a cool guy, but the number one comment I got while we were on tour was, I've never seen a guy hit that hard on a drum set. And he goes through sticks like insane, like an insane amount. And actually at one show he broke the kick pedal somehow, like the metal piece. Yeah, I don't know. We were right in the middle of, and it was funny. It was at Deadwood, and it was like a huge show. There was a lot of people there, big, and of course, right as we go for and then for iPhone and I, it's just did it, just like snaps. We had to be like, so anybody bring a kick pedal from home? Anybody got an extra kick pedal?
Oh.
But it was fun though. It was good.
Absolutely, man, for sure. Angel, let's kick it back up to you, my friend. But at the same time, Metal Summoners, it is going to be last call for alcohol. We appreciate everything that Isaac's done for us and all the time that he spent with us. And we still got him for a little while longer. We want to respect his evening. We want to respect his time. So it is going to be last call for alcohol, fans. When it comes to questions, comments, anything that you want to ask him, don't be shy. We always clear the board and we will get to them all. But it is that time, friends. Angel, take it away, my guy.
No question there.
What
advice give someone just starting out in the business? I think a really important thing about being in this business is, and it's one thing it took me a bit to realize, or well, two main things. It's kind of, you do want to be social, and you really want to go and support other bands and like get to know people in the scene, starting in your local scene, really getting to know people, because you never know who somebody's going to know. And that was kind of the case for us. And so, yeah, just really like going to other people's shows, just really that kind of camaraderie in a local scene is what really helped us out, I think. At least me, because I had been in the both scenes, Baton Rouge and Houston, for a while, and I got to meet so many cool people, and yeah, that's a big thing, along with consistency, and in terms of social media, I mean that's just a huge thing. Creating stuff because you never know what little video, what little something could just go out there and catch the eye of 100,000 or a million people, and then there you go. That's it. And but yeah, I'd say those are two main things.
Awesome. What's in store? Okay, I know we have the tour coming up, but as far as new music, is there any plans of releasing new music maybe next year?
So we don't have a date yet, but we are actually currently, writing our next little thing. We've got a few songs, more than a few actually. We've got too many ideas. but yeah, we don't have a date quite yet, but we're working on that, and hopefully gonna start in recording and production here in a little while. Mm-hmm.
How do you decide when you have a good idea, when you have a bad idea?
I feel like it's a mixture between like, if somebody starts out a little riff or like riffing a melody, he's like, hey man, what do you think of this? They're just kind of like, that's dog. That's no. Mm-mm. That's terrible. We're not doing that. It's kind of like, well, I guess it's not as good, but I actually normally, don't get that, but just showing it to other people, getting feedback, you can kind of tell if maybe this is a solid idea, and that's normally just bouncing it off of, people, of musicians, as well as just like people in general, friends and family, like, what do you think of this? But, yeah.
I'm looking at that. There's a board on mine.
Huh?
Okay. I'm gonna kick it right back up to.
Absolutely, man. No problem. So, Isaac, before we let you go, we've talked about the current album, we've talked about singles, and we've talked about your current tour and what you've got plans for the rest of this year with what you're able to discuss with us. Currently, what would you say your goal would be? Like, what are you looking for Thrower to currently achieve?
What's our current goal?
Yeah.
Well, I made a deal with Cole, the guitar player, that we were going to get a big old tattoo if we get 100K monthly listeners. So that's kind of our goal.
All right.
Which set goals high, so that's what we're trying to do, and so we're going to try and work and get there. And if that day comes, I'll get that tattoo.
Have we established what that tattoo is going to be yet?
Nah. There's a few ideas, but mainly it's just him showing me some terrible tattoo ideas, and I'm like, no, like jokingly, of course, like he's not being serious, but like of a something dumb, something stupid.
Done that one, believe it.
No, absolutely, man. No, we love it, man. We'll have to let's get some people out there with some Thrower tattoos on the stuff like that.
Your girlfriend's name tattoo. You could love her, but don't get her damn name tattoo.
No.
Okay. Angel, it sounds like you're speaking from personal experience here, sir.
Yes. Look at this dumbass tattoo I got. We broke up years ago. Never. Don't do that. Don't get a female tattoo unless it's your mother. That's different.
Okay.
Memories. No, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I don't plan on doing that.
Good.
No, absolutely, man. But Isaac, man, we really, really appreciate your time, man. It's been so fun rocking out with you. But before
Yes.
we officially let you go, man, let everybody know where you and Thrower can be found and where's the best place for people to locate you guys.
So you can find us easily online, throwerofficial.com. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, so you can find us on there too. Just look up Thrower or Thrower Official or Thrower Band. You should be able to find us. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a blast, and I know we've had some technical issues. Can't always control that, but it's
Totally.
been a blast, and I really appreciate you guys having me on here. It's really fun to talk to y'all.
Oh, anytime, man. No, for sure. And that's always the biggest thing for myself and Angel is that, you had a good time. You enjoyed yourself. You felt respected and that you enjoyed the questions you were asked.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Awesome, man. Well, I mean, dude, you're an alumni, you're family, man. Anything that you need, you just let us know. Even if something comes up and you're just like, hey, Jay, Angel, this really bitchin' show came up and can I pop on for 5 or 10 minutes just to talk about it? We're always going to say yes. So, reach out anytime, man.
Awesome. I definitely will.
Cool, man. Well, you have yourself a great rest of your evening and best of luck to Throw or have a killer series of shows with Tommy Vex. And we can't wait to hear, hopefully, about that potential announcement that you're looking forward to. If everything falls, the chips fall where they need to for you guys. So that would definitely be super cool and super awesome. And Metal Summoners, thank you guys so much. Make sure you're showing Thrower a lot of love and supporting them, checking them out on their socials for everywhere that they're going to be playing, especially like me, all you Don't Fear the Reaper fans. Make sure that you guys get out there so that way you can hear the song live and just get out there and enjoy some live music. Again, Angel and I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure that you're following the Metal Summit on Facebook and YouTube in particular, because that's where we go live, but as well as on our Instagram, because that's where the guest announcements happen at. Angel can be found at Angel Alamo 78 on Instagram, as well as Facebook. I can be found on Instagram at Salem.vampire. And you can also find Psycho Steve at The Real Psycho Steve, our beloved co-host who also helps us book shows. You can also find him at The Real Psycho Steve on Instagram as well. Make sure, again, that you guys are just being good to each other and have yourselves an absolutely fantastic weekend. But don't forget, we got a very special episode tomorrow. We're doing a follow-up at 2 p.m. So hang out with us in a little bit less than 12 hours, a little more than 12 hours, but with the band Blitz. They're coming to us from the UK, and we're going to have a great time as well. So we will see you guys tomorrow. But let's bring it back on point. Again, thank you so much to Isaac on behalf of Thrower, and we appreciate everything that they're doing, coming on, chatting with us. And again, take care, my friend. Have great shows with Tommy, and we look forward to talking to you again in the future. Isaac, we'll have some more fun.
Awesome. Thank you again, and thank you, everybody, for listening.
Absolutely. Thank you, Thrower fans. Thank you, Metal Summoners. We love you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And for the follow-up next week's episode, we'll have a guest announcement over the weekend. Take care. Be good to each other. On behalf of Angel, behalf of myself, and on behalf of Isaac, as always, you guys, you've been watching the Metal Summit.